Hi everyone, Alan from Newlands Nursery. Hope you are well and thank you for joining me on today's live. And we've got some fantastic plants to show you and to talk about. And you can tell it's spring with some of the plants I've got in front of me. We've got fantastic Barnhaven primulas, which if you don't know them, we'll talk about them more in detail in a little bit. They are double flowering primulas. So really good in the garden this time of year. You can probably see in front of me, they're flowering now. So they are fantastic for spring colour, which I suppose hellebores bring spring colour, and there's a few other stuff like that. But primulas are a traditional one to add to it. So we'll be talking about those in detail in a little bit. And mint plants, I don't know if you can see just below me here. I brought the camera into one of the greenhouses here. We're in greenhouse number 5. So the rest go back that way, and 4 and 3, etc., are behind the camera there. So this is one of our, wouldn't class it as a propagation greenhouse, but it's one of our greenhouses that we use almost for hardening off, really. So a lot of stuff comes through this greenhouse before it's ready to send out to you, because it's important to us to be able to sort of send out a garden ready or a plant that you can handle and deal with. Depends what the plant is, obviously. Some aren't just appropriate to go to the garden this time of year. But thank you for joining me on the live. Primulas and mints is what we're talking about today. So really excited to dig into that. And if you've got any questions about any of these plants, then please do let us know. Plus, we've got a fantastic offer just for the people watching the live. So if you use code LIVE7 on any primulas and any mints, then you will save 15%. So that offer is until 7 o'clock tonight. So you've got till after the stream. You'll be able to log on, watch the stream, and then go over to the website and check out any of the mints or any of the primulas that save 15%. So well worth taking advantage of that, because it's the perfect time of year to either be planting primulas or be starting to grow plants like mint and things like that. And who doesn't want any of these in their life? So definitely worth checking out. So let's talk about the primulas. So some of you will have known primrose for a very, very long time. These are almost like a different species. They are, strictly speaking, the same thing, but they're almost like a different plant entirely. They are much easier to look after. They are plants that will improve over the years, which is obviously something we definitely want. And the flowers, I just think, are that much more interesting than a standard primrose. Nothing wrong with those, and you can pick those up at sort of even DIY shops, garden centres or whatever. But these are pretty special things. They've been bred to have double flowers and really, really interesting flowers. So this, for example, is one of my favourite. It's interesting that we've got all these different flowers, all these different colours of interest. I still refer back to a traditional primrose type colour to it. But it has these lovely ruffles of a very pale cream flower to it. So this is Dentel, and it's a really, really nice variety. And if you love all of the colours, we've got a fantastic collection that is well worth checking out. That is cheaper to buy anyway, plus with the 15% using Live7, you save 15% as well. So that's, if you're interested in 6 different colours, that's the one to go for. But I particularly like that. One that is super popular as well, and I can see why, because you don't often get this colour in a primula, is this really deep sort of purpley, velvety colour. This is Frou. I don't know who named them, but I actually quite like that name. A really, really nice variety, really stand out colour to it. Yeah, like I said, it's like I suppose magenta's not the right word. It's a purpley, almost a royal purple. That might be the best way of doing it. Real tight ruffles of colour to it. So Frou is a really, really popular one. And a really unusual one is this one here. And I can't show it off on this stream as good as you can if you take a look at the website. This one is vintage. and it has, I'm going to struggle to really describe this one. So it's got like almost like a metally blue colour to it with silver edges around the outside. Again, tight. And the great thing about these varieties is, I mean, there's so much bud coming. I don't know if I move that a little bit closer to the camera, whether you possibly can see all the bud coming there. So these have been flowering. These Barnhaven Primula have been flowering, some of them actually before Christmas. And they're still flowering. They're still doing really, really well. Same with loads and loads of plants. Take the odd dead leaf off. Other than that, it kind of looks after itself. It's hardy, can go outside. These have been outside all winter with no issue at all. They grow well in pots. They're good in the border, and they kind of sort of settle down and get bigger and better for next year. So as opposed to your primrose that you might only keep for 1 year and maybe not get as long a flower, certainly won't get as long as flowering as this. These are sort of a bit more of an investment that will give you good flower this year, plus for next year, year after, so on. So a really, really nice group of plants. We were really, really pleased to be able to get these on the nursery and be able to sell these because they're so good. So you've got sort of 3 creamy colours, which still are the most popular in the Primula family. This one's Guernsey cream, which you can see has got darker leaf to it and a cream flower, which is really, really nice. A lot of people like that. I think our most popular ones at the moment are Vintage and Dentel, which is, like I said, it's like a buttercream yellow. That might be the best way of putting it. And yes, I've just seen a comment on that. The Vintage is absolutely stunning, Julie. It really, really is. That does look absolutely amazing. And it's interesting, one in a similar sort of vein to the Vintage is this one here, which is Purple Storm. But the strange thing about it is it just looks different colours in different weather. It's one of those purples that when you get that low light towards the end of the day, it's not quite iridescent, that wouldn't be fair to say, but it has a really, really nice look to it. Okay, I'll try and hold that to the camera so you can see. And you might be able to see, because the blooms are a bit bigger on that one, you might be able to see the double flowers to that. So these are, I know they're Primula and Primrose by name, but they're just a different thing entirely. They're so much better in my view. So well worth taking advantage of the 5%, 15% off using Live 7, LIVE, and the number 7 across any of the mints or Primula that we're showing you today. And I'd be interested, Julie, whether you've just seen the pictures on the website, or if you've actually got Vintage. I'd love to know how it's doing in the garden and stuff like that, because they're performing so well here, really, really well. So yeah, definitely worth grabbing some of these, because I just think they're absolutely fantastic. So that's the Primula. We do a 6 collection, like I said a little bit earlier. That's by far, in fact, actually many of our collections are by far our most popular option that people go for, because it gives you, in this particular case, each collection is slightly different, but it gives you 6 different colours. All of them are really, really good, and it's great for putting in pots, putting in the border, something like that works really, really well. And if you're a plant lover like we are, just getting those different colours is always really, really nice. So growing these is nice and simple. You can see they're in a 9cm pot. Good root to them, nice established plants. So they're nice and easy just to take the pot off, put it in a pot, put it in the border, somewhere like that. They're one of those plants that we almost always say with virtually everything, you want a well-drained soil, and that's definitely not wrong with these. The thing you need to watch out with any Primula is the summer months, especially if we get those really, really hot days, is if they dry out, they can struggle a little bit. So the interesting thing with something like this is we're concentrating on this time of year, but the danger moments are in those hot summer months. I mean, it was May. May was really hot last year here for a few days, but it's June, July, August, sometimes into September, those really hot months. And it's not so much the temperature, it's more if we let them dry out. So don't let these dry out. Keep them moist, not wet. Don't waterlog them. But keep them like that, and then they will go for the winter. They sort of put on the flower. Depends on the year. We had a really odd winter, but they put on their flower and they do their show just after Christmas. Depends on the year. That might be middle of January. Start seeing flowers. Some varieties are slightly earlier than others, and go all the way through. At the moment, these look to me like they're going to flower till at least the end of March, if not into April. So the weather will dictate how long they go for. But really nice things to have in the garden or in a patio pot. Of course, you don't have to just plant them on their own. They work really well with other plants. And traditionally, I've seen them a lot sort of in the front of borders and stuff like that. They work really well for that. So if any of you've got these Barnhaven primulas, definitely drop a comment, because I'd love to know where you've planted them, how they're looking, because they are really stunning plants. So that's the Barnhaven primulas, really nice. And don't forget, if you are going to order them before 7 o'clock, after 7, the code doesn't work anyway, but before 7 o'clock, then use the code LIVE, L-I-V-E, 7, the number 7, and you can get 15% off the primulas or the mints. Code works for both of them. You can obviously have both of them as well. And you do that at the checkout. So I'm going to move these across because I've got a fantastic selection of mints here. So I just picked a few of our range. We've got around about 30 different varieties available as we speak. Some we have available a little bit later. If you've never grown mint plants, I'm sure most of you have grown a mint plant or certainly used a mint plant in cooking, like the ones you can get at the supermarket and cut and stuff like that. They are, in my view, a must-have herb. Now, you may or may not know that we have specialised in herbs for a long time before I was let loose on the nursery. So I'm going to say 35, 40 years, something like that. My dad's not around today. I'll be able to ask him, he'd know absolute certain. And over those years, we've seen loads and loads of new mints come along. And I've got 3 brand new ones to show you here that I was super impressed with and saw for the first time in Germany last summer, and we've managed to get them and add them to our list, and they're available on the website as blood plants now. But what I've done is kind of split the mints when we talk about the varieties into two main groups, sort of the, I'm going to say, cooking tea type ones, and then more fruity type ones, but I'll leave the new ones to the end. So they're a collection of 3 different ones which go across the board. So if you're, I always think with herbs, unless you're super keen on herbs, and there's nothing wrong with that, then I always think you want to plant herbs and use herbs that you're actually going to use in your cooking. So like I said, there's like fruity type herbs, orange, mint, things like that. They're good for drinks and stuff like that. Then there's the more cooking type herbs, like Moroccan mint, garden mint, stuff like that, which I'll show in a second. They are good for cooking, adding to maybe teas, but adding to roast potatoes, not roast potatoes, boiled potatoes. Really good in salads, like a fresh tomato, bit of mint and a bit of salt is absolutely fantastic. They're good for that. So let's look at the more cookie type, traditionally type. None of those are real words, but cooking type herbs or mints, I should say. So we have got two super common herbs, mints here, but one of them actually is much harder to get hold of than it ever used to be. So garden mint is your everyday mint and is still yet to be sort of usurped by any other mint. It just does what it says on the tin. It is probably the best one to add to your boiled potatoes. It is super easy to grow, and garden mint is still one of the best-selling mints, certainly for us, and I believe, if I'm remembering rightly, certainly in the country, because if it's not broke, don't try and fix it. It is a fantastic multi-purpose mint that is fantastic to chop up, add to various different things, and it's really, really good. And the important thing with it as well, it's got a leaf that works well eating, if you know what I mean. It doesn't have a strange texture to it or anything like that. So it's a really, really good mint to go for. If you want a collection of mints, garden mint's just kind of got to be in there. Now this one is apple mint. Now I know these are plug plants. Mint is probably, I always think, is best to grow as a plug plant. The reason being is the hard bit is getting it to this stage, getting it rooted and getting it going, especially some of the varieties. But once you're at this stage, you can put this in a 9 centimetre pot and you'll be picking it in, I don't know, you could probably start picking it in about a month. So if you want to build up a collection of lots of different mint plants, then a plug plant is the way to go. They've still got a nice root system to them, and you can even get them home and take the top off and take a cut in almost straight away. So this one's apple mint, and I have heard it described as sort of grandma's mint or granddad's mint. It is a very old variety, been around for a very long time, and apple mint is still very, very popular with lots and lots of people, and for good reasons. And I've picked just a small selection of our range here. I've picked some of our more popular ones, but I've also picked some of my favourite ones. So I'm not going to say a bad word about any of them because I do like them. So then we've got a peppermint. So if you love peppermint tea, this is white peppermint. The odd thing about white peppermint, which has always confused me, it's got quite dark leaves. It's not white at all. But a nice white peppermint is good, and we've got Moroccan mint. If you want tea made from a mint plant, Moroccan mint's the way to go. And if you've never had mint tea, or never made mint tea, I should say, it has got to be the easiest tea to make around. So all you do, if you can boil a kettle, you can make mint tea. So all you do is boil a kettle, nice and hot, chop up or get a bunch of mint leaves. This will obviously be a little bit small, but get a bunch of mint leaves and add that to the water. You can scoop it out or leave it in, completely up to you. And then you've got a fantastic taste. And if you want to make mint tea, Moroccan mint is the one to go for. Definitely the one to go for. Then from those, they're sort of traditional mints. A lot of people will know them, but they're fantastic because they do exactly what they say on the tin, and you will never be disappointed with those. Then we move into some of the slightly more unusual mints, and almost like the fruity type mints, starting with these two here. So we've got blackcurrant mint and we've got grapefruit mint. Now, these have a very different scent to them. Now, what I'd say to you is if you're going to do a live on mint plants, then the ideal thing would be to have it that you can actually smell these, but I really can't do that. So I'm going to try, like all those posh wine people do, and explain the scent to it. So blackcurrant mint has a very, very sweet scent to it, which is really, really nice. It also has a lovely structure. So if you're growing a mint in a pot, they can look great as ornamental plants as well. And these two, which is why I put them together, the blackcurrant mint and the grapefruit mint are really, really good container mints, which are fantastic. And grapefruit mint I would have said is just get that very slight citrus to it. And what you'll find with any herb, or lots and lots of herbs at least, and mint plant in particular, the scent isn't always in the early spring. They need the oils to get into the leaves to really get that scent. And sometimes you get different scents depending on the weather. Banana mint is a great example, which I'll show you a little bit later. Myself and my father had no idea why it was called banana mint, to be honest, until one day at Hampton Court, we went past it, really, really hot day, and you could literally smell it, and it did smell like bananas. So sometimes they need quite precise conditions to have that scent to it, but it is well worth the wait. Then a few other fruity type mints. We've got berries and cream mint. From our ornamental point of view, that's my favourite. Really, really good structural mint to it. Looks absolutely fantastic. If you ever saw any of our RHS displays, that would always be front and centre because it always looked good. Has really, really deep red stems to it. Really, really nice mint. And we've got Jessica sweet pear as well, which we first grew probably 15, 20 years ago, where we were lucky enough to get a plant from Canada. And that is a fantastic Jessica sweet pear mint. Is really, really nice. Does it smell of pears? I wouldn't have said so personally. And even later on the year, I'm not sure that's the case, but it is still a nice mint to go in drinks and things like that. Wouldn't be one I'd cook with, but really, really good for drinks and stuff like that. And we've got orange mint, and we've got Hillary sweet lemon mint. Orange mint is a really, really unusual leaf to it. Really nice, really citrusy mint. And Hillary sweet lemon mint, depending, I don't know whether this is a pro or a con, depends on what you think, but allegedly is named after Hillary Clinton. And I think that is a true story. And that is a really interesting mint, really nice flavour. Again, I'm going to be adding that to drinks, cocktails or stuff like that. And one tip if you want to add a bit of mintness, a bit of freshness to a drink, you can always take a leaf off and freeze them in ice cube trays, and then you can add it later. That works really, really well in the summer. A very popular mint is ginger mint. A really, really definite scent to it. I've smelled so many mints now that you struggle to get the genuine scent to them, but ginger mint is super important. This one is banana mint. So banana mint is the one I spoke about a little bit earlier, sorry. Probably one of the harder ones to take through the winter. And if you really love this mint, I would bring it inside during the winter. It is harder to get through the winter. It will go through the winter with no issue at all, but it is definitely harder. Like I say, when you get those perfect conditions, you really do get a fantastic scent from it of bananas. We're not that type of weather. It looks, I don't know what it looks like on the camera, but it's fairly overcast today. So it needs to be warm. Those oils need to get in the leaves and get going. And then probably our two more popular ones by name, if nothing else, is chocolate mint. Who wouldn't love chocolate mint? Lots of people describe it almost like a scent of after eights rather than sort of Cadbury's chocolate, but an after eight scent to it. It's a really, really, really strong, sweet peppermint scent to it, which is absolutely fantastic. And in chocolate cake, it's pretty good if you want mint chocolate cake. Or I've never tried it, but someone told me they mixed it into hot chocolate and it was particularly good. So well worth considering that. And this one here, which is a little plug, it's been cut back, but a really, really nice bushy plant, is strawberry mint. And that really does have, again, when the weather's right, a fantastic strawberry. In fact, I can smell it now. A fantastic hint of strawberry. So you don't get the taste come through, but if you ever opened a fresh punnet of strawberries, strawberry mint is exactly the hint it gives me. So they are absolutely fantastic. And now to these 3 brand new mints that I first saw in Germany last year. And the pictures that are on the website were taken from these absolutely fantastic plants. So they were mint plants about this big, really structurally sound, really sturdy plants, massive plants covered in bees and butterflies, which actually do love mints when they're flowering. They're a fantastic source of pollen, mints, so definitely worth considering for if you're growing a wildlife garden or something like that. They're really, really good. So each plant it's got to have been about that big. They're in big containers, to be fair, but they're really, really good, chunky plants, and each of them have a really unique scent to them. So it's from the No Mint, No Kiss range. So this is a range of mints that you possibly have seen on social media, and the idea is, unless you've got fresh breath, you're not going to get a kiss, which is, I suppose, is an interesting marketing thing from the company. But forgetting about all the marketing stuff and forget about all the name of it, whether you like the name or not, these 3 mints are absolutely fantastic. So in the range, there is a peppermint, there is a mint me, which is a spearmint, so really, really close to, so it's like your Moroccan mint, you're going to use it in cooking, and there is a fruit mint, and they are all very, very distinctive. They're all fantastic plants. They are fairly new mints, which means they've been through loads and loads of trials to make sure they're sturdy, to make sure you get the scent, to make sure you get longevity from them. So that's what breeders are looking for. They're looking for something that people are going to love for absolutely ages. And these, I predict, are going to be some of our best selling mint plants this year. And if they're not, I think people are missing out. They are mint plants that are absolutely fantastic. They are really, really good. It is rare, especially when you've been growing herbs as long as we have, to see one new herb that is good, let alone 3 new herbs that are fantastic. And these 3 are fantastic. So the No Mint, No Kiss range is on the website. When you go onto the mint selection, hopefully it's been pinned fairly close to the top, near the Ultimate Collection. These won't be, just so you know, we mix up the Ultimate Collection. That is a mix of 12 different, the Ultimate Mint Collection is 12 different types of mint, full of fantastic varieties. Certainly to begin with, we're not going to be able to offer these in that collection because they are that special, they are that good. They are absolutely fantastic. So I've just seen a comment from you. Is Hillary sweet lemon mint? Is it bitter? Well, yeah, it's a very good question. But as a plant, it's not. And like I say, maybe it's a myth, but I heard it from a very reliable source that is named after her. And it does kind of make sense because in that area is where it was bred. So it would actually make sense, but who knows? But back to the No Mint, No Kisses. There's a peppermint one, there's a mint me, which is the spearmint type one, and there's a fruit mint. So you can do your peppermint tea, you can cook with your potatoes, and you can make a fruity drink or add it to a fruity drink or a mojito or something like that. They are absolutely fantastic mints. You cannot go wrong with them. You will absolutely love them. And if I was getting them, I would get them as a plug plant because they're, like I said, they're fantastic growers, really, really good growers. And they put on a great root. So I've got no hesitation to say these are going to bulk up and you will be using them much, much sooner than you would think. Like I said, possibly in a month's time, maybe a little bit later, depending what this weather does. So if you want any of the mints or the Primula or both, Please make sure you use the code LIVE7, LIVE7, to get 15% off. Definitely use that. We had a few people placing orders last week and forgetting to use the code, so I don't want you to miss out. The code runs out at 7 p.m, so you've got a little bit of time. So sit down with a cup of tea, cup of coffee, look over the range. The mint range is absolutely massive, so well worth checking that out. The Ultimate Mint is by far the most popular because it's the best value, plus you get a range of loads of different ones. It's a random selection. Do a lot of these random selections. If you've never bought from us before, we do a lot of sort of ultimate selections, a lot of random selections. That allows us to keep the price a little bit lower, but gives you fantastic plants in there, and 12 different types of mint. You can't go wrong with that, so well worth going for something like that. But if you're just going to go for one selection of mints, then the no mint, no kiss mints, I think, are the best ones to go for. So unless you've got any questions about any of these, feel free to comment. Then I'll end the stream now and wish you a really fantastic weekend. We are on next week, the same time, where I will be showing you our amazing range of scented geraniums and fuchsias. I told you it was the spring, didn't I? So a great range of plug plant fuchsias. We've got a really good range on the website, so we'll be talking about those, and we'll have a special offer for you to be able to use a code and check out. So thank you for watching. Thank you for looking at these mints, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope it's overcast. At least it's not raining here. I hope it's better with you, and roll on the spring. See you soon.